Okay, so today I'm going to take you through how to replace the screen on this GoPro Hero 7. The one I got here is quite cracked. The first thing you want to do is make sure you remove your battery and SD card, and then we're just going to start by twisting off this lens. Now just note the parts that you need to replace the screen is firstly this front cover, which is the next piece we'll start taking off here, and then the screen itself. The reason you need this front cover is because you really destroy it getting it off, as the glue is almost impossible. So we're going to start by putting a little bit of heat into the area around the outside edge of the front cover, and we're going to work our way in. So there's soft glue all the way around, and you've got some clips around where the lens is. But what I found was the best way was to get in a screwdriver or some of these prying tools and heat it up and just start peeling up the glue along the edge, and slowly work your way around and around. And the hardest bit is at the end. We've got a glue around the screen. There's a different type of glue right where the screen is, and I guess that's for waterproofing. You can start to see that glue there now. It's like a white color, so we've got to be really careful not to damage that little LCD screen there when we're doing this. As you can see, the front cover is completely destroyed by the process, but that's okay because they're cheap enough to replace. So I've got links to the replacement parts all in the description there. They're on AliExpress. You can't really find them on eBay. I don't think this is a really common place. I couldn't find any other videos on how to do it either. Here I was just trying to straighten out the front cover, but yeah, you really can't do it. Okay, so there's 6 Torx screws here to pull off the second front steel cover. I think it's a T1 Torx. The screen didn't actually come with the right size. And then the next bit is prying off that front piece. Mainly just hold the lens, that's the bit that's clipped in and it comes out. You do have to be wary that the little ports on the side is actually what makes it hard to clip out. Now here we can see the ribbon cables. I'm going to leave the other cables connected, but I'll disconnect the ribbon cables so that I can fold the front panel just off to the side. So I'll disconnect these, and then we'll remove that little bit of foam off of the 2 that are connected to the screen. The other one goes to the battery and SD slot components in the back there. So the next part here is we're going to try and remove the screen from the back so that we can get through to it. This screen was really cracked, so I pretty much just had to heat it up with a heat gun and then pick off the pieces all the way around. I think if you had a complete screen you could probably get a suction cup on it and heat it up as a whole and pull it out. But again, the glues are really quite firm on these screens, so you might find that you have issue. I think the glue is like this on these GoPros because they've got to be waterproof. So you can see here I picked all of the glass off around the edge. Make sure you wear safety glasses when you do that, and I should have worn gloves as well. So I've folded out the screen here. So it's got those 2 ribbon cables there that I've pulled off. The black one on the bottom and then the middle one. And I'm going to leave the foam on the other ribbon cable so that we can stick it to the new ones when we put it on. So what I'm doing here is I'm lifting up the battery tray, so it's actually glued to the back cover, and it stops you getting the cables through the side. So I lifted up the battery tray and kind of shuffled it across a little bit, and then I'm just picking off this orange tape here to let it move across. And that gives us enough room to slide the little chip out on that ribbon cable. And now we're going to put the new screen in. Pretty much a reverse of that process. Here I'm just cleaning off the edge to make sure that the new screen has a good adhesion. And I actually didn't put any of the adhesive on the screen until I had fully assembled the GoPro. I mean, you can do that at the start if you want to, but I didn't want to put adhesive all the way around because it's likely that I'll have to replace this screen again because I used it on my drone. And I seem to break them. So I didn't want to put adhesive all the way around so that it's a lot easier for the next time, because this is the first time this one's been replaced, so it's quite hard. So we're just working those ribbon cables through. Try not to force them, just maneuver them through, and I think the battery tray kept sliding over, so I had to hold it out and then slide them through. And then the last bit that's quite hard is just getting that little chip through. So I'm just trying to show how to do it here. Sorry that it's out of focus. Alright, so that's through, and then we should be able to sit the screen down once that gets in there. Yep, there we go. I was just trying to sit them into position there. Yep, there we go, the screen's sitting down in place. And then I pushed the battery compartment across and pressed it back into place. I didn't really put the tape back on those ribbon cables. I probably should have, but I don't think the battery compartment's going to move around much once it's wedged in there. And the glue, the tape on the bottom was still there, and it holds it down quite tight. Just pressing it into place, making sure it's all seated. Now I'm going to put the battery in. I'll make sure the battery fits, sorry. That just shows that it's in the right spot. Now we're going to pre-bend the new ribbon cables, because they've got a little kink spot in them. Having the fold in the right spot, but still with a little bit of preload, makes it much easier to put them in place. So we'll put the two new ones in place first. What I like to do is just move it with your finger and wait for it to lock in, and then press it down. You can use tools to do it, but you don't get as much tactile feedback. Let's put that last one in, and then I can use the positioning to attach the adhesive foam to the other two ribbon cables so that it's in the right spot. And now we're just going to sit it back together, ensuring that the cables fold as they should, being a new screen. And then we'll do a little test boot up to make sure that the camera works. It's a little bit hard to get it seated in there. It's a really tight fit, and there's a lot of little clips that hold it together. Needs a little bit of finagling to get it in. There we go, that's sitting down. So you can see that white section around the front where that glue was. So we're going to test the screen now. Put the battery in and power it on. There we go, we can see the front screen's working, and there goes the back screen. See if the touch screen works. Yep. Seems to be all good. So now we're going to put those screws back in the front. And at this time I didn't actually have a replacement front cover, so I tried to make the old one fit good enough, and just held it on with the lens cover. But obviously at this point this is where you would replace the proper front cover, and then you'd have a repaired camera. Now I wouldn't recommend getting this camera wet without an external enclosure, but these GoPros these days, they're only waterproof to a couple of meters anyway, so you may as well put it in an external closure. So yeah, the links are down in the description on where to buy the parts to do this, and let me know in the comments if you have any issues, and thank you very much.